Are you a new underwater photographer or already a seasoned professional and having some issues with editing? Then this video is for you. By the end of this video, I will show you how to use Adobe Lightroom to do basic adjustments and take the pictures from here to there, and also a few tips and tricks at the end of the video. Let's go into the video. Hi everyone, my name is Maxime Cheminade and I'm an award-winning underwater photographer and filmmaker, and today we are going into the basic of Lightroom. This video is recorded with Lightroom 15, which is the latest release at this month, but those tips are available for every version of Lightroom. One important key thing first. Lightroom is meant to be used with RAW format. While it could work with JPEG, you will not get anywhere near the same amount of editing options that you would with RAW. So first, always shoot in RAW. In Lightroom, you do have different areas like library, desktop, map, book, slideshow, print web, etc. etc. We will only focus on two, which is library and desktop. And for this, if you actually right click next to it, you can remove the options. In library, there's a small quick develop feature. I would recommend you to not use that. This is not really something you should want. Welcome to the Developp Module. The Developp Module has two panels, left and right. On the left, on the top, we do have the navigator, which is very, very important. This gives you a view of the entire picture and permits you to either zoom in, unzoom, or just fit the picture to the entire panel. Under it, there is the preset module, and presets are a very key thing in Lightroom. Presets are a collection set of pre-done editing that are being saved by either yourself or a different photographer. If you like the style of a photographer and you wonder, oh, how are they doing this in Lightroom, then get their preset and you can see all of the edits that I've done and then adapt it to your style. If you like my style, I have some preset in here. You can just check in the description below. Those are the presets that I personally use for all of my photography. So if you're interested to see a little bit more in depth what I do, here you can do. Generally, what I do with my picture is I'm thinking about global first, and then I will go more in depth into masking or some small parts with masking. But this is not really the type of this video. I'm gonna do a different video on masking because it's a subject on its own. So today we're just gonna look into global. Lightroom is supposed to be used top down. On the top here, it says histogram, and histogram is a very mathematical tool on how to see where the light is on a picture. Black, shadow, exposure, highlights and white. This is just gonna tell me where the information falls in the picture. Is my picture very, very bright? Then it's gonna be on the right side. Is my picture too dark? Then it's gonna be on the left side. It's a very nice tool to know roughly if the picture is nicely balanced in terms of brightness. Small tips for those of you that don't know. On top of the histogram, there is two little arrows here. Those helps to know if a picture is too dark or too bright, and it will show you where is the brightness area. Sometimes you may want to have very high brightness or very black darkness. Makes sense? So it just helps you to see where those things fall. Double click on any of those parameters will reset it to 0. The first thing we should do is to look into the white balance. The white balance is gonna change all colors in our picture, and that is one of the main effects of the raw file format on Lightroom. Switching the white balance of a JPEG is extremely complex, and colors are gonna just become very, very bad and banded and horrible. While here with a RAW, the color changes can be quite drastic without affecting the end quality of the picture. Amazing for us. When I start to see a feel for a picture, in this picture, I really like to see more of the reg, and there is a lot of negative space around. This is a great picture. So I'm just gonna bring a little bit more of the exposure just to put it a bit more in the center. And I can see there is no pure black or no pure white. So in order to create a bit more pure black and pure white, I'm gonna use contrast. And you see on this histogram, I'm gonna expand the brightness and the darkness. This is what contrast does. And then I'm gonna look a bit into my highlight. I can see already here, see in the red part, the Meta is saying that this white thing is too bright. Then that means that maybe I need to reduce a little bit of highlight if I wanna conserve those details. I am just gonna doing a bit it's a little bit more white. I just liked the brightness. I kind of like the feel for this picture. I think it looks great already in terms of brightness. Colors are a little bit weird. They look a little bit green. And this is gonna happen when I have either not enough yellow or if I just had a very green water. And this day was a very, very green water, unfortunately. That's why the white balance is very nice. One very cool tool, texture, clarity, and dehaze. Dehaze is your best friend for underwater photography, but too much dehaze isn't a good thing. Dehaze is gonna help looking into areas that are way less contrasty and then bring the contrast out. But this creates green hues that are sometimes undesirable. So if I use dehaze here a lot, I'm getting a lot of green from some of the area. Obviously, it looks much better already. Clarity and texture are gonna affect mostly the detail of the picture. And I use those, but I use those into a mask workflow. So like this, they don't affect the entire picture. We can just always turn a little bit more clarity and texture. Clarity does wonders on Rex. It just makes the detail pop, and it's very, very good. Turn curve is a bit more advanced. I tend to use it as well, just to bring more feeling to the picture, to have this faded cut like this. And I'm gonna just switch down. I'm not gonna use color mixer or color grading just yet. I'm gonna go to Denoise and I'm gonna apply the new AI Denoise. As you can see, my camera is not the greatest in noise. This is my GH5 that I'm currently filming this on. And even in 2018, when it came out, it wasn't a great camera for noise. It's definitely not a great camera by 2025 standards. But like you can see the drastic denoise, very, very good. I tend to leave it around 50 to 40% because if not, then it creates some very weird things and I just don't like it. So now with Denoise, we can start to play a bit with colors. One cool thing with colors, so we can use what we call the color mixer with HSL or the color, depending on how you want to do it. I tend to use HSL a lot. So if you want, let's say, to have the blue a little bit different and just touch the blue color, you can do by using aqua and blue and purple, modify the hue, the saturation and the luminance of these colors. Example here, if I want to switch to having a more aqua blue, I took the blue and I put it to aqua, and you see immediately we are having a much more aqua blue. If you want to modify how this looks in terms of saturation or luminance, if you want to have a darker blue, let's say, we can get a feel for the blue or purple. So even if we would like to put purple here, we can move things around to create immediately a different feel. And you see like this immediately, just touch on that color and it starts to get very, very, very cool very quickly. One quick tip. Normally I would tend to say, do not move slider to 100% one way or another. But with HSL, sometimes you can just have fun. One quick pro tip. If you don't know which color you want to affect, in here there is a little round shape button. If you click on it and you go and drag it in here, you can see where I'm dragging that it activates on the aqua, blue, or here it's going to affect the red. So you can move whichever the color you're trying to achieve here. So if you want to change the saturation of this actual color or the luminance of this actual color, you can just select and then move the cursor up and down and it's going to affect the HSL color. I kind of like this already. It doesn't have a huge personality, but if you compare it from before to after, it is actually pretty nice and day. We have much more contrast, we have a lot of like more presence in the image and it looks really better. And from this point, we can start to then give it more of a personality. One pro tip, there is a way to change how Lightroom sees colors that will influence the entire mood and the entire globalness of the picture. And I use that on every single photo. And that's the panel called calibration. Calibration is at the bottom of it. For some reason, I think it should be much higher, but this is my opinion. It helps you to change the way Lightroom interprets the color of your raw. Very important. You can then move red, blue. You can fix as well if you have some problem of banding, like you can see here on top. The color makes like this very weird holes and blue. This is called banding. That's because the color has shifted and there is no information, or it's out of bounds. So you can start to fix problem like this, and you can also try to bring color into a very different range without affecting the rest of the parameters. This is simply how Lightroom sees the color. I use this a lot. It is very, very powerful. It is very, very nice, and it helps with every color. And we see difference between before and after. We just like added a little bit of pink on the shadow, on the tint. This is also very nice when your white balance is really maxed out on one side. You can actually use calibration to fix more of the picture. After this, the next step for me would be to go into mask. It's a little bit more in depth. I'm gonna do a special tutorial just on masking. And if you really like this Lightroom tutorial, I strongly recommend you to look into this tutorial. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be very nice for you.